have afterwards. So Rudy, if we are just sorting out one of the streaming issues, but once that is going, we will start with the presentation. We will be able to tell you all about it.
All right, let's get cracking.
Okay. Right, so first of all, a little bit about Aquadam. Aquadam is here. We help you to save water for future generations. So, who is Aquadam? Aquadam was established in 1992. It's an innovative company, and we use a modern approach to our products, and we are a company with integrity. Now really that is integrity of the people, integrity of the product, and also integrity of the processes that we utilize in the manufacture of our products. So let's talk about the fire tank and a few of the basics of the tank itself. So first of all, the application is suitable for both sprinkler systems as well as hydrant fire systems. So it is built to the highest local and international standards. So you can utilize this in the whole of Africa, but also throughout the world. The newest innovation in this tank is the use of Posmac steel that we utilize for the steel shell, and we'll talk about all of that in a few moments. Also another innovation is the fact that there is no PVC liner in this tank, which opens up a whole lot of possibilities because there's no liner that can get snagged in anything. Of course, quality and safety is always a priority for us, so quality and safety is always first. Let's look at some of the awesome features of this tank. So first of all, we're going to look at the shell, which is a Posmac steel shell. Then we're going to look at the roll forming process that is utilized in the manufacture. Then we're going to look at the lifespan of the actual tank. After that, we look at the design specifications, how we designed it according to our client specs, and then also the delivery and installation of our tanks. So our tanks are designed with the best practice in mind. So we offer all of these additional specifications in the tank. First of all, there is a steel dome roof available.
Charles, would you say that you would always need a steel dome roof for this tank?
You know, not all applications need a steel roof, so we can supply the tank without a steel roof, but mostly the fire tank application does require a steel roof. Also, when we utilize the tank as a potable water storage facility, then we also utilize the dome roof, but processed water oftentimes does not require the roof.
Yeah, so it will be basically an additional specification if the customer would require it.
That's correct, yeah. Also, it does come with internal ladders as well as an external ladder for easy access, and that is also come with a higher safety specification. So we have a safety cage that goes around the ladder on the outside.
Yeah, and this cat ladder of ours is pretty much acceptable on all kinds of different applications for mines and all those kind of high safety spec areas. So it really is up to standard, and yeah, I think it really works great for any solution.
Yeah, true. We've got the tank installed in quite a few mines and also on the schoolyards where safety is a priority. So yes.
Yeah.
So these tanks, we recommend stack them. It's a modular, flexible tank. So the bolted nature of the tanks makes building the tanks a breeze when compared to any welded fire tanks or even these concrete structures.
Yeah, so on that, I mean, if you're on a site, there's no hot works on a site.
Yes.
It really is has a safety aspect to it as well. It makes all round. That is a huge advantage, not to have any welding or hot works being done on a site. And I really think that's an awesome advantage of using a modular steel bolted tank, like what the fire tank is.
True. So your manufacture time on site is also minimized. Is that correct?
Correct. And you're actually going to do most of your cutting and your hot works beforehand.
Yes.
Here with our CNC cutting machine, we will actually cut the holes and everything for the inlets and outlets and overflows. According to the customer specs, we will be able to place them in different positions if needs be, but all the cutting and all the hot works is done beforehand. So it really is a case of getting onto site and putting the tank together on site, and that takes a couple of days, at the end of the day.
That's good, and it also brings us to the next point, because it makes it a lot easier to accommodate environmental conditions like harsh winds conditions,
Yeah.
seismic events and that kind of thing, because your time to manufacture is so quick.
Interesting story, I'll tell you, Charles. We just completed one of these installations in Porch now, and our customer was over the moon with that we're way ahead of schedule. We were about 3-4 weeks ahead of schedule.
Wow.
What they're saying is like, I can't believe you guys are finished already, So that's one of the great advantages of having a tank like this, a modular, flexible tank.
Well, that is always the bane of any engineering company's life, is when a subcontractor is running late, because then you have penalties and all of that kind of thing. And if you come in maybe ahead of schedule, it gives them the breathing space as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah. No, ahead of schedule in the building trade, I think, is like unheard of. So it really is awesome. Yeah.
Very good. Also, it's very easy to transport the tanks because it's flat packed. The firmness of the shape and the mechanical strength of the tanks are guaranteed.
Yes.
And then these modular system panels are bolted together with an SMX modified polymer. So that's just a very fancy way of saying it's a very strong adhesive.
Sure, and we're going to get more into that polymer and how the tank is actually sealed and everything, not using a liner, a little bit later in the presentation.
Very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the tank a little bit. So first of all, the Posmac sheet, it is the highest corrosion resistance tank available out there at the moment. So
And that's an important point. It is literally the highest corrosion resistance steel that you can find at the moment.
Yeah.
And this tank is made. That tank shell is made up of that amazing steel.
And our company is the only company at the moment that can utilize this to build tanks. So
Correct.
If you want the best tank in the world in terms of your steel, you can buy the Posmac tank from Aquadam.
Right.
So it's the latest recognized code of practice and the standard in the industry. So the tank itself, the steel tank, is 5 to 10 times more resistant than standard galvanized steel, and we'll show you a little bit more about that in a moment as well. But what it all means is that you get a tank that has a design life of 50 years, and the tank itself is actually warranty. There's a warranty on it for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
The actual steel, if you look at the picture at the bottom, if you look at the actual steel, then there's a zinc and magnesium and aluminium coating, and right at the outside, if there's any nicks or anything into the actual coating,
That alloy coating, yeah.
Yeah.
It actually forms something called cemincolite.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the cemincolite is also an added protective layer that keeps out any elements and keeps it from rusting. And let's show you how that works in practice. So if you look at the picture that we've showed you there, this is a picture where they've actually taken this steel plates, the Posmac plate. There's two thicknesses, a 200 milligram and a 350 milligram, and they've compared that to Galvalume and normal galvanized steel. And they sprayed that with salt for a long period of time. So there's a 480 hours all the way to 2400 hours, which is 100 days. And they compared what the differences would be.
Yeah.
So what is interesting is you look at the normal galvanized steel, after 100 hours, that steel is just about eaten away.
Yes.
The Galvalume is slightly better, but the Posmac is really the star of the show.
Sure. Talking about the salt spray test method, I'll never forget Werner, our colleague, who also talked about the salt spray test method. and he says it's like as if you've put these steel sheets in the ocean and left it there.
That's great.
You know, that's one way of looking at it. It's an extremely highly intensive corrosion test that's done to test these steels.
Yeah.
And just looking at the results there that you get from this Posmac, it's quite incredible there.
Yeah, what you'll see there's no rust on the actual sheeting. What you see is the white, and that is actually, I believe that is a zinc. Zincalite that actually formed, and that is forming an additional barrier, so it stops it from corroding any further.
Right, and yeah, instead of creating a corrosion, it creates this barrier, this element. And again, no PVC liner. That's going to be needed because of this corrosion resistance that the tank can offer. There's really no need for it. Depending on the specs. I mean, we can always put one in if a customer requires something like that, but I don't think it will be necessary of that.
Talking about the specifications, I mean, we do design the tank according to the client specifications. So we have the machinery to design over 600 different sizes. So if you send us, Mr. Client, if you send us the specifications, we'll design your tank according to your requirement. So we have diameters that goes from 2.99 meters all the way up to 19.45 meters diameter. And the height goes from 2.1 meter, and then we can build a tower of 9.4 meter high.
9.4 meters, eh?
That is very high. Because
it is.
Yeah.
We did put up a very high tank now recently as well. I think it was around, what was it, Steelport? Okay. One of these fire tanks, and if I'm not mistaken, that height was at least around the 8 meter high tank. We'll just double check that with Willie, our man on the outside there, but I think that was around the height of one of those tanks.
But that's about 3.5, 4 stories.
Yeah,
if you think about it in layman's terms.
And no problem, great job well done all around, and the tank is standing and everybody's happy, and it's just awesome.
Has to show.
Yeah.
Right, so the roll forming process, we take great pride in manufacturing every tank perfectly according to specification, and that is done by a dedicated team of office and factory personnel that makes it their duty to deliver your tank within the shortest possible space of time. So if you look at the little video that's playing there at the bottom behind us, that is a video that is on YouTube at the moment. It just shows you the processes of how the tank is being made. So please go and visit our YouTube channel as well and have a look at some of those videos that's on there to show you a bit more.
Our Posmac steel does not make an appearance on that clip there, but that's actually our corrugated steel, but the zinc aluminum steel. But I think this was made. The product is still so new, even though it's been tested. I think we weren't even putting up any Posmac steel tanks when this video was shot, and this was about a couple of months ago. So yeah, it's really a brand new innovation by Aquadam.
So there you go. We are a company with innovation, so we use the best machinery to roll form every tank perfectly, and we work hard to give you peace of mind as a client. So as we said before, the design life of the tank is 50 years. There's a warranty of 20 years. There's a pro rata warranty, and that is an industry-leading warranty in both the design and the warranty.
Correct, yeah. That's the fire tank.
So that is the fire tank. So let us look at some of those design specifications. First of all, the American Water Works Association, it adheres to that. That's a standard for factory-coated bolted steel tanks for water storage. We also adhere to SANS 10160, which is the basis of structural design and actions for buildings and industrial structures. And please note part 3, which is wind actions, quite important for tanks of this height. Also, we adhere to SANS 282 version 2004. That's the bending dimensions and scheduling of steel reinforcement for concrete. So that's for the base. And then the Posmac steel, the magnesium, zinc, and aluminium alloy coating that acts differently to iron when it is exposed to the elements. So any harsh conditions that these tanks could possibly face, that is all addressed by all of these standards that we do adhere to.
No, 100%. And just also to mention, Charles, we have now recently been approved by the SAIFP, which is one of the bodies who actually approves these tanks for building standards. Okay, so it has been approved by the SAIFP. I believe we are just waiting for our letter of approval. That'll be up on the website soon, and that's a big deal for us. So there is no governing body that can actually say that the Aquadam tank is not acceptable, as there's no standard that says that the Aquadam tank is not acceptable to be used as a fire tank.
So that is quite important. So our tanks are adhering to all international standards, so that means also in South Africa, it also adheres to all the South African standards. So there you go, there's nothing stopping you from utilizing this tank.
Absolutely. In fact, you're probably going to end up saving a few bob due to our efficient processes with the manufacture and supply and install of these tanks. And again, just to reiterate, no body is actually able to say that this tank will not be acceptable.
Yeah. We believe it's a superior product.
In fact, it is a superior product at the end of the day. A new innovation and a superior innovation, which is great. It's moving forward.
There you go. Right, so we have installed these tanks and other tanks all over the world already. So there's just a few countries that you can see where we have tanks installed. That's just throughout Africa. A little bit more, which is showing you where the towns are, the closest towns. But you can see that we have installed tanks all over the world, not only in Africa. So local and international delivery, not an issue at all. We manufacture on demand and to your specification. So we go and we install these tanks. So it's done by the experts, being us, ourselves.
Correct, yeah.
And we have professional and reactive support. Now, with all this being said, we have over 8,400 installations of tanks throughout the world already. And that figure is already old. We are already beyond that, and it's growing on a monthly basis.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're probably pushing about 9,000 tanks at least at the moment. I'm
sure we are there.
Yeah.
Right, so let's look at the tank installation, the actual way it's manufactured, how it's bolted together, and the floor of the tank itself. So let's start with the tank plates. Now, first of all, there's the tank plates as well as the stiffeners. That's all made of Posmac material, as we mentioned before. Then there's an eco-friendly pure acrylic waterproofing coating, which is it's UV stable, it's flexible, it's extremely durable, and we actually put 4 to 5 coatings of that inside the tank to make it waterproof. So it really is waterproof. Okay. If you go to the sealant between the actual plates, we use something which is called Sudal Flex, so which is a polyurethane bonding material, and all of the specifications of these products is available. Should you require that, you can contact us and we will have it for you.
Sure, and important to note that the waterproof coating is actually going to provide you with potable water, and that polyurethane, the Sudal Flex, is not going to make contact with the water at all during the process, when you're storing your water in this tank. Okay, so that's just important to note that there is no danger of toxicity or anything actually getting into the water supply. So this is going to provide you with potable water, and the reason why that could be important for a fire tank is because a lot of guys want a solution where they have half of the tank supplying domestic water and the bottom of the tank supplying fire water, or is it the other way around? But so you've got a domestic line and a fire water storage line using the same tank, and that could be more efficient if you have less space available or anything like that.
That is a very efficient manner of doing it. I believe what they do is they have an outlet specifically for the domestic water on the upper end of the tank,
right?
So that you always have at the bottom part, you always have your reserve for the fire.
That's the one. Okay, okay.
Right, so
that's how we achieve no PVC liner.
There you go. So it's not necessary at all, and potable water, that is the standard.
Correct.
Let's look a little bit at the anchoring of the tank and the floor, how that is all done. So if you look at the picture on the right hand side, there's a little bit of a blow up of what you see in the top. So The Posmac plates are in a slot, and then the Sudol Flex is fixing the plates in that.
And a grouting, yeah. So
And
it's a grouting and then Sudol Flex on top of that.
Okay, and then that is all sealed as well with the sealant.
With the waterproof coating. Yeah.
So there you go.
And it's heavy industrial waterproofing, as we said, suitable for potable water.
There you go.
So chances of leaks there is like slim to none.
Right, and then this whole tank is fitted to the floor with anchor brackets. So you see the bracket at the bottom with the M24 nuts that is used. So inside the floor you have mesh to reinforce the floor. So it's a very sturdy floor. It's a very sturdy application. Your tank is going nowhere.
Absolutely. I mean, look at with our design here, I believe that's a 300mm threaded rod, M24. That actually gets placed into into the concrete there, and
That's
that is
right.
going to anchor your tank. And I think you can imagine that tank will go nowhere with that kind of solution there.
Definitely not.
So yeah, engineered, spec'd and built to the highest quality.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's look at some of the applications. So first of all, of course, is the fire protection tanks. And then, as we mentioned as well, then you have your potable water, but you can also use it for agricultural use. Interestingly enough, wherever you have animals that is in an enclosed area like chicken in chicken coops, feeding lots, etc., your water quality is very, very important because it can affect your animal health.
Sure.
So this is also a very good application for that. Also, where you have a dual application with the water and the fire tank where there's limited space, so this is very good for that. Chemical storage, because of the Posmac, chemical storage and processed water, ideal for that. But of course, you can use this tank for emergency relief. You can use it for recycling of grey water. So anything you can think of, this tank, you can throw this tank at everything and will probably outlast us.
100%. And we are also open to innovating. If you have a particular solution that you need, and you can send us the specs for, say, a certain kind of chemical, it might not be able to work with a liner. We can always design something which can work with one of our tanks, with maybe using this fire tank. And if the waterproofing we're using is not going to work, we can always design something different and see what kind of specs we can work with.
Exactly right.
So we're really open to doing that, and that helps us with innovation as well, you know.
Yeah, and speaking of innovation, I mean, if you take the fire tank and you take it even a step further, you get to what we call the rhino tank.
Yeah.
And that is something for a different presentation, but the rhino tank is also showing you how we take our innovation and we extend it even further. That is for applications where you need a pH of 2 to 11.
Correct,
So
yeah.
it's chemical processes.
Sure.
Right, so we have the tools. So we have acquired the most technologically advanced roll forming equipment and bending machinery to form and bend each steel coated tank exactly to your specific requirements and your specifications. And every tank is built by the very best experienced and passionate teams, as if it is their own tank. So the installation teams are trained and certified to give you the most memorable and pain-free experience during every installation process, as our clients can attest.
100%, yeah.
And also we give you great support. So we have a great support team of professionals in the office and the factory personnel. And we make it our duty to support every client with your specific water storage need in the shortest possible time. Okay. So let's just recap a little bit about the tank. So the Posmac sheets that we use in the tank, it's top quality design, it's modular, and it is very flexible. It is built to the highest local and international standards. And I think we can't stress that point enough. So it is built to international standards, so this tank is acceptable in the fire industry.
In fact, designed for the fire industry.
Yes.
And acceptable under any standard or body
There you go.
in the fire industry.
So we use the latest in the roll forming technology. There's over 600 sizes available, so the world is your oyster. We deliver both locally and internationally, and we supply and do the installations as well. The tank has been designed to last for over 50 years, and there's a 20-year pro rata warranty, and then of course our happy customers and successful no sweat projects is what set this tank aside from others. Right, so don't forget, what is the one thing we shouldn't forget?
20-year warranty.
20-year warranty. There you
Four
go.
thumbs up.
There you go. And if you want to know a little bit more about this tank or any of our other products, you are most welcome to contact us. You can contact us on our landline number, which is 086 100 1010. You can go to our website where there's quite a lot of information on every product that we have. So you can go to aquadam.co.za. You can contact the sales team at sales@aquadam.co.za. And of course, we are very active on social media as well. So you can follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and email, as we said before, sales@aquadam.co.za. So we are available.
Every Thursday we're streaming live with Aqua Live. It's such a great little innovation for us to be able to do this every Thursday. It's actually a lot of fun.
It is.
And next week I'll be hosting for the Agri Dome.
Correct.
We're going to be starting to focus a little bit more on the applications of our products, going out from year on out, a little bit more to what these products can be used for, as opposed to focusing so much on the actual specs and so on of the products themselves. I think we've put our product out there quite a lot now, and I think everybody has gotten to know Aquadam's range.
True.
So now it's time to focus on the applications. So yeah, really join in for that.
Time to see
next
what
week,
it can
Thursday.
do.
Yeah, let's see what these puppies can do.
Yeah. So I really look forward to next week as well with you, Rudy.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at that. And I don't know if there's any questions at the moment from the audience, but I do have a question about this specific tank. And the question that I do have is specifically around an application where you need to stir up the content. So people either use agitators or they use aerators. And I've been asked the question is this tank suitable for those two mechanisms? And maybe you can tell us a little bit more. Let's look at, first of all, at the aeration part and then...
So, well, first of all, I mean, you're not going to have a PVC liner in this tank. So it's going to make the whole process a lot easier. So I would say it's absolutely perfect for that kind of application.
Yes.
And even with your agitators, you know, there's no liner inside the tank. So yeah, there's less chance for anything to go wrong with the solution.
There you go.
So I think this is the tank for those kind of applications, 100%.
And that also broadens the scope of this tank to far beyond that of just being a fire tank.
Correct, yeah, it really does, We do still have the Rhino tank available as well, which is also no liner, epoxy coated, heat treated, fusion bonded steel shell.
There you go.
And that is also for heavy chemical storage and so on.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we've covered the bases when it comes to these solutions that people would require.
Well, thank you, Rudy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And also, I want to
Always
say...
a pleasure, Charles. It's really always great to present with you.
And I also want to say thank you to Billy that's been outside and just holding the fort and making sure that there's no technicalities or that we don't miss any questions. We really appreciate that.
If we've got anybody in on the chat here. Sorry, mate.
And there we go.
I think we are sorted. I don't see any questions.
There's no other questions. So if there's any questions, you are most welcome to contact us with your questions as well, and we will be more than willing to assist you with that. But please do join us again. Do join us next week on Thursday at 3 o'clock.
That's Thursday next week, yeah.
That's it. And your host will be Rudy. And with that, we say thank you, and we'll see you next week.
And we're signing off. Everybody, I hope you all have a really great Heritage Day tomorrow, or as I like to call it, Braai Day.
True that.
Have yourselves a good braai, and we will see you next week, Thursday, for Aqua Live, the Agri Dome.
There
all right,
we go.
that's us signing out.